Behind Shirley Temple's endearing curls and contagious grin was a heartbreaking past. Have you ever thought about it? Intense demands, rigorous schedules, and objectification characterized Shirley's life beyond her status as Hollywood's darling amid severe economic times. Behind the scenes, things were far more difficult, despite her positive attitude on film. Come dive with us into Shirley Temple's untold story as we unearth the strength that lay under the surface of this little superstar's smile and investigate the shadowy aspects of her stardom. Have you ever pondered the path to stardom in Hollywood? Santa Monica, California, a beach town renowned for its abundant sunshine, was the starting point for Shirley Temple. The entertainment world would never be the same once her incredible ability, which was recognized at a young age, took her on a remarkable journey. The remarkable qualities of Shirley were recognized by her parents, George and Gertrude Temple, as early as her verbal and motor development. Her infectious energy, beautiful blue eyes, and kind disposition were her first strengths. Her exceptional singing, dancing, and acting abilities, however, were her true distinguishing features. The first of Educational Pictures' early 1930s short film series, Baby Burlesques, included a 3-year-old Shirley who made her cinematic debut in one of the films. Toddlers played adult characters in these comedic flicks that parodied the era's most famous adult films with clever and frequently sarcastic language. The combination of Shirley Temple's limitless energy, mesmerizing screen presence, and wise beyond her years delivery of words made an indelible impact. Even though other kids her age were only learning to walk and talk, she was already a heartthrob and scene-stealer. Gertrude Temple, Shirley's mother, laid the groundwork for her daughter's professional success. Gertrude, a strong-willed and driven lady, saw her daughter's gift and was committed to helping her develop it. With courage and determination, she became Shirley's stage mother and helped her navigate the tricky world of show business. As a kid star, Shirley got her start under her tutelage. It became apparent that Shirley had a remarkable talent as her performances in Baby Burlesques gained prominence. She had an uncanny ability to sing, dance, and act that made her seem much older than her years. She was so young when she was cast, and Hollywood took note of her remarkable talent. However, her distinctive hairdo was equally as important as her ability in distinguishing her from the crowd. An individual's public persona is crucial in the realm of Hollywood fame. Every aspect of Shirley Temple's portrayal was meticulously planned. Her signature hairdo, which had precisely 56 curls, was one of the most memorable and long-lasting features of Shirley's image. The meaning of this number has been lost to history, even though it became her characteristic haircut. This painstakingly styled hairdo was the brainchild of Shirley's mom, Gertrude. Without fail, Shirley's mother would meticulously style her hair before each public or TV appearance. She had high hopes that her daughter's unconventional hairdo would help her stand out in the cutthroat Hollywood industry. A child's naturally curly curls came to represent its innocence, charisma, and purity. Curly hair was a major factor in Shirley's star power, and her appearance was purposefully designed to reflect these attributes. They elevated her look to that of the classic child star by giving it an air of innocence and whimsy. What does it take for an aspiring young actor to get into the competitive world of Hollywood? The solution, according to Shirley Temple, was her remarkable skill, magnetic personality, and perfect timing. She became Hollywood's biggest star in the 1930s when she first gained fame, and her charisma was contagious. Shirley's rise to stardom after Baby Burlesques was spectacular. Her early cameos in Baby Burlesques' satirical short films suggested she would be good, but it was her performance in Stand Up and Cheer, 1934, that launched her into prominence. Playing an orphan who finds solace in her music and dance despite the hardships of the Great Depression, she mesmerizes moviegoers. The same year, however, Shirley was released Bright Eyes, the film that would later cement her position as Hollywood's golden child. Shirley Blake, the film's protagonist, is a bright youngster whose humor and insight captivate audiences as she deftly negotiates the complexity of adult relationships. Her exceptional talent for relating to audiences of all ages was on full display in this part. One of her hallmark songs, On the Good Ship Lollipop, was included on the album Bright Eyes in her own unique interpretation. The 1935 film Curly Top, in which she played the part of Elizabeth Blair, an orphan whose life is transformed when she is adopted by a rich benefactor, was another of her most famous performances during this time. Hollywood's golden child Shirley was further cemented by her charming performance as the courageous and adorable orphan, which was well received by moviegoers. Shirley was the most popular actress in Hollywood at that time, and her films offered an escape from the hardships of the day while also giving hope to audiences. She was most known for her portrayal of strong, optimistic, and can-do individuals who overcame obstacles. Shirley Temple's films were a beacon of hope throughout the Great Depression, showing people that there is always reason to laugh and enjoy life, no matter how bad things become. The film industry and spectators alike recognized Shirley Temple's remarkable skills. Shirley, who was just 6 years old when she earned her Juvenile Academy Award in 1935, a trophy that was half the size of an Oscar, was a remarkable creation. The Academy's decision to honor young performers in this way was novel in that it allowed them to compete against adult actors in a separate competition. In a touching moment during the 6th Academy Awards in 1935, Shirley was given the honor. Her victory speech, which she gave with the genuineness and simplicity of a kid, won over the crowd even more. She made a heartfelt statement saying, "I want to thank the Academy for this, and my mommy and daddy, and my baby brother for helping me, and Mr. Darrell F. Zanuck, and everybody in the whole wide world." Her iconic status and the joy she brought to people during difficult times were solidified by her ability to inspire hope and happiness. An early look into Shirley Temple's life on set of Baby Burlesques provides an insight into the seedier side of Hollywood, as her rise to fame started at an astonishingly young age. There was no way that this movie set was suitable for kids. Shirley was one of many unruly youngsters who endured frightening sorts of punishment behind the scenes. The punishment box, a windowless sound booth where misbehaving children were placed on an ice block as a kind of punishment, was an especially horrific practice. As a terrifying reminder of the dark side of Hollywood's abuse of child stars, this punishment was utilized as a technique of controlling young performers. Although Shirley Temple has natural skill and charisma on television, she, along with other youngsters, endured inhumane treatment and punishment behind the scenes. If the shackles of stardom and the abuse on set weren't bad enough, Shirley Temple endured a horrific event when she was only 10 years old that rocked her world and brought the shadow side of fame into sharp focus. An attempt on Shirley's life occurred in 1939 when she was making a live radio performance. A lady came charging onto the platform with a pistol aimed squarely at Shirley while she was performing on the radio program. It would seem that the mother had the delusional notion that Shirley had taken her daughter's soul and that her murder would restore it. Despite the woman's swift capture, the episode highlights the seedier side of the celebrity industry, where fan devotion can transform into pathological fixation and even physical aggression. Even for a young youngster, it's a sobering reminder of the perils that may accompany stardom. Shirley Temple rose to stardom at Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, one of Hollywood's most prominent studios, as her career took off. Despite MGM's reputation for making some of the classic movies of the day, it was not without its own of problems. Shirley had an unnerving experience with Arthur Freed, the producer at MGM. Famous for his musical productions and subsequent hits like Singin' in the Rain, Freed made the young actress feel very uncomfortable during a private encounter when he exposed himself improperly. Nevertheless, Shirley was still subject to the wild speculation of Hollywood's gossip mill, despite having overcome such obstacles at MGM. The industry's need for sensationalism spared no one, even its youngest star, despite her shown brilliance and innocence. A long-running urban legend held that Shirley Temple was not a kid at all, but an adult actor who had undergone a battery of plastic surgeries to give the impression that she was younger. Some people in the public began to embrace this ridiculous conspiracy notion, which held that Shirley's seemingly endless supply of youth was due to special therapies. Due to the widespread nature of the myth, 20th Century Fox made the historic decision to release Shirley's birth certificate and arrange for a medical check to confirm her age. There was also the urban legend that Shirley had her hair dyed red instead of being a natural redhead. Even while this story wasn't as ridiculous as the last one, it was still an attempt to debunk her image and question her credibility as a kid star. The idea that a kid could become as famous and successful as Shirley was hard for many to accept. Among the strangest and most pervasive stories about her was the idea that she was a myth. Opinions on her rise to fame varied among conspiracy theorists. Some said she was an invention of Hollywood, crafted to win over the American people, while others said she had struck a deal with Satan to ensure her success. This wild myth, which now appears ridiculous, started spreading about her when she was just starting out. Surprisingly, the sensationalism and controversy that often accompany celebrity may affect even the most respected and legendary personalities in the profession. Beloved 1930s child actress Shirley Temple accumulated an enormous wealth in her youth, but she faced complicated financial difficulties as she entered adulthood. Shirley was a very popular actress, and her films were quite successful at the box office. But back then, Hollywood's financial arrangements weren't what they are now. Shirley and other child stars did not always have the same freedom or access to information about their finances as today's performers. Regardless, there's no denying the significant amount of money she made during her cinematic career. Reportedly, she was making $50,000 each film by the time she was 12 years old, which was an incredible amount in the 1930s. In today's market, this amount is comparable to millions of dollars, making it even more shocking when adjusted for inflation. Shirley was able to supplement her film profits with a plethora of merchandise using her likeness. Dolls, apparel, and a plethora of other things bearing her picture increased her wealth even more. As a child celebrity, she made an incredible amount of money, an estimated $200,000 a year, from sponsorships and souvenirs. Shirley Temple's financial history goes beyond the sum she earned when she was a young actor. The story of her financial difficulties and the complicated choices that led to her misuse of her riches unfolds over the years. The time period in which Shirley became famous was a contributing element to the waste of her fortune. There were less safeguards and financial controls in place for kid performers in the 1930s and 1940s compared to now. The arrangements for Shirley's money, which were left to her parents, Gertrude and George Temple, were anything from perfect. Gertrude had a tough time keeping tabs on her husband George's expenditures and the family's finances, since he was notoriously careless with money. The effects of the Great Depression were another component. Considering the financial Hollywood icons were not immune to the era's upheaval, unpredictability in the financial environment led to the demise of investments that were reasonable at the time. Buying a house in Brentwood, California, during Shirley's prime earning years was a major financial choice handled on her behalf. Known as the Temple Estate, the residence was opulent and had a tennis court, vast gardens, and a swimming pool. Despite the property's obvious grandeur, the acquisition had far-reaching monetary ramifications. Shirley was severely financially strained by the maintenance and upkeep of her extravagant mansion. The financial difficulties kept piling up as Shirley Temple's career declined as she entered adulthood. The fact that she was no longer as often cast in the films that had made her famous was a harsh truth she had to confront. She was left to handle the management of her money when the income that had been so abundant throughout her youth started to decline. Shirley Temple persevered in her pursuit of financial stability in the face of management failures and other obstacles. In the 1950s, Shirley Temple made a triumphant comeback to the entertainment industry, playing the lead role in hit TV shows like Shirley Temple's Storybook. At last, her passing marked the end of an extraordinary life that had been distinguished by fame, money, and financial hardship. She had amassed a considerable wealth during her time as a child star, but her bequest was much less when she passed away. She was said to have had a net worth of around $10 million when she passed away. This is not a negligible amount, but it pales in comparison to the immense fortune Shirley Temple amassed during her prime. The difficulties caused by wasteful expenditure, poor administration, and unpredictable economic conditions had worn them down. The incredible trip that Shirley Temple had in Hollywood was just that, exceptional. She won over fans all across the globe the second she danced her way onto the screen as a little kid star. In the 1930s, she was the top box office attraction in Hollywood because to her exceptional skill, contagious optimism, and innate charm. Shirley, however, became a cultural phenomenon whose influence went far beyond the theater. She was the recipient of several accolades and prizes throughout her life, each one a testament to her extraordinary accomplishments. Among the many honors bestowed upon her, the 1998 Kennedy Center honors stand out. She was further cemented as a legendary figure in American entertainment with this distinguished distinction, which acknowledged her remarkable contributions to the performing arts. As further evidence of her lasting impact on the acting industry, Shirley was presented with the Screen Actors Guild Life Achievement Award in 2006. She had an extraordinary career that lasted decades and created an unforgettable impression on film history. This honor recognizes those who have done exceptional work in the acting field. Shirley Temple's impact went much beyond the realm of film. The Shirley Temple, a famous non-alcoholic cocktail that became almost associated with her name, was a favorite of both children and adults. It was created with ginger ale, grenadine syrup, and a maraschino cherry. Nevertheless, the actress herself saw the irony. With a mischievous grin, she famously claimed to be the only woman who ever entered the White House and came out without a drink. The Shirley Temple doll is among the most famous and long-lived items linked to Shirley Temple. These lifelike dolls were painstakingly designed to mimic the young actress, down to her trademark hair and wardrobe pieces from her film performances. As a beloved plaything for innumerable children, the Shirley Temple doll became an object of intense desire for children all throughout the country. Countless additional items, such as trading cards, board games, and even stationery, included Shirley's likeness. Shirley Temple's ubiquitous presence and immense popularity gave rise to a thriving goods market. Shirley had an impact far beyond the realm of cinema, and children might even own a piece of her. Shirley Temple's autobiography, Child Star, was released in 1985 and provided an honest and introspective look at her life as a celebrity. The book chronicled her rise to fame from her humble beginnings as a child singer, including the ups and downs she faced along the way. Being a child celebrity was an unusual experience, and she spoke frankly about the commercialization of her image, the pressures she endured, and other related topics. The films that Shirley directed continue to be popular, attesting to her lasting influence on American society. She has been an integral part of cinematic history for many years, and her films have been seen by generations of spectators. Her talent for making people feel hopeful and joyous via her on-screen roles during the Great Depression will be remembered forever. Shirley Temple was 85 years old when she died on February 10, 2014. Aside from signaling the end of an era, her passing also caused people all around the globe to express their sympathies and pay respect. In addition to her acting chops, she was regarded as an extraordinary lady who made an unforgettable impression on American history. Shirley Temple was a much-loved child star in the United States, and her films, diplomatic work, and public service all contribute to her lasting reputation. One person's narrative may move millions of people, and hers is a story that will live on in cinematic history. That wraps up another episode. For more, go to the next video on your screen.